In this second tutorial, we will identify zeros and factors of quadratic functions given a graph. So let's flip over to number 4 in our notes, and this should be a pretty quick tutorial. We are given the graph of a quadratic function, and it says state the apparent zeros and the apparent factors from the graph. So let's first start with zeros. Remember that zeros are simply x-intercepts. So all I need to do is identify the x-intercepts. I see two of them. One of them is right here, and the other one is right here. So let's identify those numbers. This is -1, so x equals -1. And the other one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so x equals 5. Those are our two zeros. I could write them like that, or I could write them as a set of numbers -1 and 5, or I could write them as ordered pairs -1, 0, and 5, 0. Any one of these options is fine. If I want to write them as factors, if I have a zero that is x equals -1, then its corresponding factor would be x plus 1. And if I have a zero that is x equals 5, then its corresponding factor would be x minus 5. Let's think about this some more. Let's take this x equals -1 down over here. If we have x equals -1 and I want to know what the factor is, I would need to bring the 1 back over to the x and set it equal to 0. And I would have x plus 1 is equal to 0. That's why x plus 1 is the factor. Same situation over here for the x equals 5. If I had x equals 5 and I wanted that to be rewritten as the factor, I would need to bring the 5 over to the x and make x minus 5 is equal to 0. Once it's equal to 0, we have our factor. Remember that factors will deal with the opposite symbol as the number that is the 0. So if the 0 is a negative, you're going to see a plus sign in its factor. And if the 0 is a positive, then you're going to see a minus sign in its factor. So that's pretty simple. When you're looking for zeros, you're finding the two numbers that are the x-intercepts. And when you're looking for the factors, find the zeros first and then convert them into factors. Those are the things with parentheses. I put a comma here to separate our two factors because I didn't want you thinking that when I multiply these two factors together, we get this graph. Remember, there are other things involved, like the value of a, if we were actually going to write the equation of this function. So I just listed the two factors separated with a comma. Thanks for watching this quick tutorial, and I'll see you in class to practice. Bye-bye.